Known for the glory, democracy, and culture, the ancient Greek period is one of the most remarkable periods in world history. Lasted for about 1,000 years and ended with the advent of Christianity. It is considered by certain historians to be the first Western civilization. Still today's, most of European civilization and cultures are mostly influenced by the Greek. They had an amazing impact on the Roman Empire, which allowed it to be adapted and brought to the rest of Europe. The ancient Greeks had a huge influence on language, legislature, education, reasoning, science, and culture, which led first to the Renaissance in Western Europe and then later to various neoclassical revivals in 18th and 19th century Europe and America. Well, hello and welcome to Itihas, where we talk about people of the past and interesting historical facts and figures. Today, we are going to be talking about the Greek civilization, and here is a list of top 10 fascinating and surprising facts about the ancient Greece, so stay tuned. Well, starting at number 1, we have Athens. The ancient city of Greece was the born place of democracy and lasted for only 185 years. It is widely accepted that Athens was the birthplace of a vote-based system of government, and despite several hypotheses to the contrary, Athens remains the inspiration for later democracies. Ancient Greece had a complex system of government as each of its urban communities had its own way of ruling, and the idea of rule by majority was born over a period of time in response to a series of localized political and social issues. In number 2, we have the Olympics originated in Greece. Greece is well known as the birthplace of the modern Olympics, and historians believe that the first ever Greek Olympics was held as a religious celebration in 776 BC in honor of the mighty god Zeus. However, the sporting event then were very different from those we see today. Two very popular events were the exciting but dangerous chariot race and the ancient sport known as pankration, which was a mixture of wrestling and boxing. Boxing itself and was not divided into weight categories. You should also view ancient Greece as the first place to host highly competitive events like modern-day mixed martial arts contests. In number 3, we have weird homosexuality between teachers and students. In classical antiquity, writers such as Herodotus, Plato, Xenophon, Athenius, and many others explored aspects of homosexuality in Greece. The most widespread and socially significant form of same-sex sexual relations in ancient Greece was between adult men and pubescent or adolescent boys, known as pederasty. Marriages in ancient Greece between men and women were also age-structured, with men in their 30s commonly taking wives in their early teens. Though sexual relationships between adult men did exist, at least one member of each of those relationships plotted social conventions by assuming a passive sexual role. It is unclear how such relations between women were regarded in general society, but examples do exist as far back as the time of Sappho. In number 4, we have love in ancient Greece. In ancient Greece, there were 8 types of love. Throwing an apple at someone was done to declare one's love. Historical records have shown that along with apple throwing as a sign of love and admiration, apples were thrown at the newly wedded couple, much the same as we throw rice and birdseed today. The apple's association with marriages in those days was also introduced as the tradition of the newlyweds sharing an apple on the first wedding night to ensure fruitful union and marital prosperity. In number 5, we have the ancient Greeks exercised naked in some sports. The gymnasium in ancient Greece functioned as a training facility for competitors in public games. It was also a place of socializing and engaging in intellectual pursuits. The name comes from the ancient Greek term gymnos, meaning naked. Only adult male citizens were allowed to use the gymnasia. Athletes competed nude, a practice which was said to encourage aesthetics, appreciation of the male body, and to be a tribute to the gods. Gymnasia and palastrae, which means wrestling school basically, were under the protection and patronage of Hercules, Hermes, and in Athens, Theseus. In number 6 we have world's first theaters. Yet another ancient Greek invention, theaters were a staple in nearly every ancient Greek city, and both tragedy and comedy were born in Greece. The performers were all men, so they wore masks in order to make their appearances more convincing. Have you ever seen the iconic happy sad face mask? Well, that's coming at you straight from ancient Greek stage. Don't forget, enjoying a performance, ancient or modern, is one of the more unique things to do in Greece. In number 7 we have the original alphabet. Greek was the first alphabet to have vowels, and indeed gives the word alphabet. Greek also contributed something like 30% of all words used in English. Though ancient Greek is a complicated language, it was simplified enough so that people could learn to write, which meant that ancient Greeks were comparatively pretty highly educated. In number 8 we have the Greeks believed on evil eye superstition. The evil eye is a common superstition. You will find jewelry and other ornaments in the shape of big blue eye everywhere. Wearing blue eyes charms or blue beads can ward away the evil eye. The same applies to blue painted housetops in Cycladic architecture. They painted the roofs and shutters in blue color to ward away the evil eye. In number 9 we have Greece had some first in fields of science and arts. The first philosopher is considered to be Thales of Miletus. He is credited as giving the first explanation of the origin of the world that was not mythological. The first historian is considered to be the writer Herodotus. He is the author of the first great book of history on Greco-Persian wars. The discoveries of Greek mathematicians such as Pythagoras, Euclid, and Archimedes are still used in mathematical teachings today. The ancient Greek Aristarchus of Samos first proposed the theory that Sun is the center around which the planets orbit in the 3rd century BC. In number 10 we have Advanced Education System of Greek. Ancient Greece boys went to school at the age of 7 if they lived in Athens, or went to barracks if they lived in Sparta. For the first part, education was a private affair and most well-off families could afford a private tutor. However, during Hellenistic period, some city-states set up government-funded schools. Young men were taught how to write, sing, and play one melodic instrument, and were prepared for a life of military administration. Many of them were upper-class citizens and did not need to work. Young ladies were taught how to write and do basic maths to help them with running a household. Well, finally, in number 11 we have... we added an extra point without mentioning, guys, but just hear it out. Slavery in ancient Greece. Somewhere in the region of 40% to 80% of population of classical Athens were slaves, and historians believe that over the entire region, the ratio of slaves to the rest of the population could have been approximately 2 to 5. Slaves were common in all households, and most Greek families owned at least one slave. Other slaves, such as helots, were state-owned. Ancient Greeks and Romans often bought slaves with, guess what? Salt. Yes, slaves for salt. Well, that's all, guys, and thank you for listening to this video. Hope you guys have a great day and stay tuned for more videos about history. Thank you.